Welcome back, everyone, to the TMI FYI podcast. I am Nat.
And I am Claude.
And, yeah, here we are.
Hey, here we are.
Here we are.
Another day.
Another day, another dollar. How are you, Claudia?
Good. It's Titty Tuesday. Or Taco Tuesday, sorry.
Well,
we've discussed
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Maybe you can have a Taco Tuesday and then it could be a Titty Tuesday.
And then it could be Titty Tuesday after. You
we talked about this on a previous episode.
We did talk about Titty Tuesday and taco. But you know, sometimes they call the kitty cat the taco.
Also,
it's
so
a taco.
Look, it's a double whammy.
It's
a twofer.
It's a twofer, a BOGO.
So, guys, hope you get your tacos and your titties. How about that?
Or gals, whatever you're into.
Right. Or gals, if you're into tacos and titties.
If you're
good for you. Cheers. Cheers to Cinco de Mayo. That's the day today. So you guys won't see this till next week, but that's okay.
Right. So you're not going to get this on Cinco de Mayo. But we felt the need to commemorate because it's not often that you get a Cinco de Mayo on Taco Tuesday.
That's a big
Titty
deal.
Tuesday.
I mean, you know, it's just an extension.
Yeah. So it's a good day. How you been since we last convened?
You know, lots of things going on and on a personal level, but dealing with it, doing good. Things are great. I can't complain, to be honest. I can't complain. Mother's Day is coming up, which is kind of the inaugural date of when we started this thing.
Yes.
And it's my favorite holiday.
I know. Do you have any plans?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You know what I will tell you? I'm going to share this out in public land here.
Okay. In confidence?
I'm dying to try mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, like growing up in the 80s, mushrooms or anything psychedelic was seen as like LSD and acid and mushrooms. You're like, oh, hell no.
Right.
Afraid of it all. I was a weed girl and then dabbled in other little things back then. And then that was it. But now it's like a thing. I mean, if you watch Chelsea Handler with Alex Cooper on Call Her Daddy or whatever, she's hysterical when she talks about, oh, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that needs to be an open thing. Like, for me, at least I know that maybe in my small little circle of proto, I've been very open about, yeah, I like to smoke it. It's not every day, but I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I grew up doing it. I enjoyed it then. I still enjoy it. I enjoy it when I'm here with my husband or watching something. I have a hard time relaxing. So it helps me relax. It's not like I'm out functioning the world, driving, doing, and being wasted. No. For me, it's a relaxer. You know, it just lowers the anxiety or the tension that you may be having. So
have you found, what I've heard from a lot of people is that, it sounds like no. I think I know the answer to this. But for a lot of people, what used to be, like weed used to be like, have this very relaxing effect. And then as they get older, it starts to give them like anxiety and like panic attacks.
But not even older. I know that my daughter said when she tried, she was never a fan. And I was just, really? Damn, I feel bad for you. Bummer. I thought maybe as you got older, we could have done this together, road trip. And she says she's tried it a couple more times, but it's just not her. Like, and honestly, it wouldn't be. I'm more of a person that if I'm going to partake in anything, I enjoy something that makes me more like, as if I don't do enough.
Upbeat. Okay.
So I like something.
But weed's like a downer.
It is. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't do it like regularly. It's usually when I'm chilling out, like for the rest of the night. We're home and we're just going to be here, or it's just my husband and I. We're going to watch comedy. Or
are you a giggly smoker? Or are you more like, I'm in my zone?
No, it depends. It just depends on that moment. I can zone into something or fall asleep. It does help me sleep, which I used to have trouble with. I don't have that much trouble, but I will take a gummy. On most nights, I do a lightweight gummy to sleep. It's the best sleep ever.
See, the thing with the edibles is that they are hard to gauge, like how much.
Well, they tell you on the bottle. Like I have my medical card.
But like for some of us who don't understand measurements, like we don't know what that means.
I didn't either. And when I walked into the shop, like when you get your medical card, I went through. It's a very easy process, and you know they have the dispensaries that you can go to, and then you know they have an online, like an app, and I just went on. I'm like ordering all these things. I didn't know, and they said, oh, but you get milligrams of THC, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm going, I have no idea what the hell they did. I walked out of there like a pro, and so I gave it to my husband. I go, you read this and you tell me.
Decode.
And it's by learning, like trial by error. So the gummies that they give you, which are delicious, they're like gummy bears with sugar. And they start with 5 milligrams. That's like the basic low dose starter level.
Okay.
It's like a, you know, like a little not a virgin drink, but your first drink that has a little bit of something. Okay. So if you've never done it, that might be just enough for you to at least take the edge off things. It may knock you on your ass. I don't know, but it's a very low. I would start with just that, a 5 milligram. It's
okay.
And gauge it. It takes about 45 minutes, maybe half an hour to 45 minutes.
That's
to kind
the other thing. It's the slow release that can sometimes trick you into like, this isn't working.
Fast acting. They're not fast.
Well, it can. It's got to go through your whole system.
So, but it's at least something that doesn't hit you like a Mack truck. You know, you'll feel it coming on, and then you can gauge. Okay, this is enough. I like this feeling. But if you do that enough, then sometimes 5 isn't enough. Like 10 is my standard. I usually will take a 10 to sleep, or sometimes 15, because when your tolerance goes up, the 10 is just. But then I stop taking them for a while, and then by the time I take them again, they have their effect. But I mean, I've noticed that when I take melatonin, I wake up groggy, and I don't. That doesn't happen with the gummy.
Okay. Well, now we're moving on to when you say mushrooms, are you talking like microdose?
I've tried 3 times. Apparently, according to someone, a young man at the gym who's sometimes there on the workout times that I am, and he's into all of it, and he'll tell you what dispensary is this, and I'm like, okay, so tell me. And I've done this, I've tried. He goes, well, maybe you are resistant, maybe you're and I'm like, oh, that's all I needed to hear. Great.
Oh, no.
But I've tried 3 different times thinking, here we go, and all I got was diarrhea. I tried the mushroom chocolate bars. What? I spent the whole afternoon in the bathroom. I go, this is not.
Oh, no.
Not the effect I was going for.
I'm so sorry.
So then I don't know, I don't know who to call, but I want to try them. Everybody I've talked, including yourself.
Not me.
No, well, your friend. Your friend told you.
Yes.
You're just happy. And some days you just want to be happy.
Every day I want to be happy.
But I mean, there's some days you need to be happy. You need to find
a little
help to get to that happy place. So, I'm getting older. It's not like I just want to become a shroomy.
I'm all for it. And there's been so much more research done around psychedelics and the positive effect they can have
PTSD, a lot of
on mental health, and just all sorts of ways that we can use this that are like kind of getting rid of some of that stigma that's been attached to a lot of these drugs.
Stigma's all over, but yes.
Yeah, but it's now coming back. So
and it's not so taboo.
Right.
Like what I was mentioning even about smoking, it's like I know for a while my husband said, don't tell people who smoke. I go, okay, I'm a grown ass adult.
Well, and who doesn't? Who hasn't?
Oh, a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry for you. People drink.
Seems like a missed opportunity for you.
I mean, and it's so available, and so try it. Don't knock it. It's a plant that just. And Fern goes, my husband will say, well, so's cocaine. Cocaine's a plant, and it's natural. And I'm like, okay, honey.
All right. Wow.
And he knows he's gonna laugh when he hears this because he knows we've had that conversation. Not everything natural is good. I go, I get it. Well, no. But I mean, but we're not doing hardcore things here. We're talking about smoking a little weed. It's not that other. What's the ayahuasca?
Oh, ayahuasca. Ayahuasca.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm a little afraid of that shit.
No, I would never. You couldn't pay me enough money. Well, I hope you get it for your Mother's Day.
That's what I've asked
I hope that you have a nice trip.
Yeah, or I just want to be giggly. Giggly would be fun.
Okay.
I don't mind giggly.
I like giggly. Do you have any bun twists to share with us? I have one.
Why is that like deja vu? That is so deja vu. And every time I'm pissed off, I'm like, I got to write it down. And I say this same thing. It's like we're repeating. We're like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down, so no, I don't. So I will give it all to you, sister.
Well, mine is just
desahogate.
No, it's not that bad. Mine, and I mentioned it last time I was getting all my wisdom teeth taken out, and I did.
And she did not get swollen, folks.
I did not
all
swell.
All 4 taking out.
All 4.
No swole.
No swole. But I will say, and I love my oral surgeon. He was fantastic. The whole experience was great. I loved getting the anesthesia, which I had been nervous about. I don't remember.
It's the best.
Okay. Well, but I'm a nervous Nelly. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to like this.
I'm like, happy hour right here. Let me skip the main happy hour. When they come with that little thing.
So he
so excited.
He tells me, he comes into the room and I'm like nervous, right? They're like putting all the little patches on me and stuff and like monitoring me. And he comes in and he's like, okay. He's like, you're ready to have some mimosas with your girlfriend? And I was like, oh my God, does he know me? Like, does he listen to the pod? I love a mimosa. So I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, okay. So he puts it in and then he's like, okay, here's your second picture. And
you floated.
Don't
right?
know what the
Did
fuck
you-
else happened after
And you're
that.
like, oh.
It was really strange. It was like I was asleep, but I was seeing like lots of
Yes,
colors.
yes.
It was like pink and orange, and I was
But
just
you
like,
feel, for me, it's like you feel like a lift in your body, like a lightness. You're like, oh, there it is. Here it comes.
to
Here
me,
it comes.
well, I didn't know what to expect, and so I was like, also, I was convinced that it was not going to work on me. So I'm like staring at this one spot, and I'm like, nothing's going to happen.
They didn't have you count backwards?
No, he didn't have. He told me
Huh.
about the mimosas. He's like,
Huh.
here's your second picture. He knows his audience, and then
And he's sitting back going, go ahead, girl.
I mean, and then all of a sudden, it just was like everything was just like got lighter, and it felt like floating.
And then you woke up.
Yeah, and then I was up, and I'm like, how long was that? He's like, it was like an hour.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
That part's scary because that's like kind of like what roofies do or whatever. You lose time. You wake up and you're like, what fucking day is it? What?
No.
I had that happen to me once. Someone dropped it in my drink. And that
Yikes.
it was terrifying.
Well, that's like a felony.
Well, I mean, it was back in the day. It was back in
It was acceptable.
early
to-
90s. No, but I mean, like, what do? You don't know that it's even happening. I didn't even know that's what it was until I described what I was feeling the next day.
That's so
And
scary.
it was my husband that
who
mentioned
roofied you.
it.
I'm just kidding.
He wishes. No. We at the time we worked all in the same office, and I was telling the girls what had happened. And he walked by. He goes, "What'd you say?" And I was explaining. He goes, "I think someone dropped something in your drink." And I was like, that would make sense. We were at Hooligans back in the
Oh,
day.
you know.
Wednesday night, ladies' night, dollar drafts or whatever it was. I think I was like 23, 24. And I would. There was a little platform with the DJ, and of course, we would stand up there, and I would set my drink down.
Oh no.
And dance and then pick it back. And you don't think it's going to happen. And then when I left that, I ended up going through Miami Subs, as we all do, to get a good mushroom burger at 2 a.m. And I fell asleep at the stop sign with my hamburger like this. And then a cop knocked on my window, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm thinking, yes.
Maybe.
I said, I was a little tired. I was hungry. I pulled over, whatever. She let me go, which was very cool. But when I got back to my apartment, I had to park and walk up, and my legs felt like cement. I could not move my legs, and I had lost time, and I had
Wow.
and I go, yeah, someone might have put that and followed me out to my car and was just waiting to see. It was awful. It was scary.
That is terrifying. Well, my mom's number one rule has always been, and I think it came passed down from my grandfather, which was if you set a drink down, you never return to it. Like, that's it. The drink is done. You have to go get a new one.
Yep.
And I haven't followed the rule 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I mean, all
Yeah.
it takes is one time. So
I mean,
ladies.
and even then, you're not paying attention. You're dancing, and I'm sitting there, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, it's the DJ. What? You don't.
You don't know. Watch your surroundings, people. Well, anyway, so my the bun twist though is just that eating, which is my number one hobby and activity, has really been curtailed. The diet those first few days was just disgusting. It was just like Jello and mashed potatoes and
after a while, like, oh, please, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to eat anything.
no. And then now I can eat whatever I want now, but I have to like chew kind of slowly and take small
And you have
bites.
the holes
I
still,
do
the
have the
pockets?
holes, so I have to like flush them out every single time
No.
I eat. Yes. The
You
food
see?
just comes like
I'll watch any murder show, but talk about things with
Yeah.
teeth and things.
And can I tell you? So I had a whole
I get
ass,
chills.
like weekend thing with my job this weekend, and it was super nice. And every time I ate something, I would have to go to the bathroom and flush out my
Your
teeth
holes.
holes. And so I would go to the handicap bathroom because it has its own sink, right? But when I was taking the train back home from Orlando, the line was so long I could not get into that bathroom, so I had to do it publicly in front of everyone, just like cleaning
Were
out
people
these
watching?
holes. There was definitely some side eye, like, what is this bitch doing?
Can't you go do that
why
in
is-
private? Why do I gotta watch you?
Yeah, like, why is there chicken coming out of her mouth right now?
You're going to make me vomit. For
but
real, though.
It's either that or I get an infection in my tooth hole, so they can.
And your
fuck
tooth
off.
hole. I like that. And your tooth hole, your booty hole, your coochie hole.
Exactly.
We got tooth holes.
We
now.
got a lot of holes. So that's my bun twist.
What is the bun twist, though?
That I can't eat
Oh,
like properly, and I
okay.
have this, I have this situation. Like
this situation.
Fuck this situation. Like, I love to eat, and I just want and my husband ate
And
like.
today, Cinco de Mayo, like
Oh,
tacos.
I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it.
You better get a big syringe.
I got a big syringe.
Fire
don't
hose.
worry.
All right.
Okay, so today's episode is
Now that we're getting there.
Now that we're getting there, our episode is going to be all about your in-laws. And I feel like this is a topic that is just like lightning rod topic for some people, because it's almost like you only hear either people who win the lottery and get the best in-laws, or people who have like the worst, and it causes all sorts of problems. So we're just going to talk about some
The
of the
dynamics, I think.
Yeah, just the in-law dynamics.
How responsible is your spouse for helping you manage in-laws?
Well,
because
that's
you're his spouse to handle your parents with him, and vice versa. And the same with me. Unfortunately for me, my in-laws have passed on. But I did have them, and they were divorced, so I had them separately.
yeah.
And they were great. Now, we had issues at certain times.
Well, that's the thing, because I think even if you have really wonderful in-laws, and I do, I think my in-laws are great people, and I very much feel like they are family,
Of
right?
course.
They're not like his family. They're like, I am part of that family, and they're part of mine, and
But
it's
there's
great.
personalities.
But there's personalities, and sometimes there's conflict, and sometimes there's disagreements, and I know some people they got real issues with their in-laws, and it's like, oh man,
sucks.
that's rough,
Yeah,
because
it's rough.
it really impacts your
The
relationship. It impacts even like if you have children, like their relationship. It's like it's a whole
And
thing.
they'll pick up on the tension if there's,
Yeah.
and as they get older, they'll see the interactions, and they might be like, do you not like grandma?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, not at all. Everything's great.
Grandma's the best.
The best. But yeah, I think a lot of that has to do also. So for instance, you have a husband who's close to his
Very,
close.
yes.
My husband was close to his mom and his dad, but again, like I said, it wasn't. I think having a mother-in-law, you're with her son, and I don't have a son, so I don't understand or relate to that connection, but I know people who have, and there
Yes,
is
you
that
do.
bond. And so you say, oh, no girl's ever going to be good enough. Just like for a man, no man is ever going to be good enough for his daughter. But I think that tension doesn't exist as much as the women dealing with their mother-in-laws.
Well,
Because you
but-
feel like they're judging you, and how are you taking care of their son, and are you doing all the things that she expects you to be doing
but isn't that
as a woman in that,
I find that idea though so toxic. This idea that
And archaic.
that no one could love your son the way you can. Of course not, because no other woman
Is
is
his
going to
mother.
be his mother. And I hope to God she doesn't find herself in a position where she feels like his mother. So, like, no, but you hope that they'll find someone that they're going to love and be excited about, and loves them and respects them, and that's really all you can want. This idea that like she's not me is like sick to me.
And you know what? Thank God. She's not, like, how gross is that?
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, mother-in-laws, the number one turnoff for your son is for him to think of his mother in any situation.
Yeah.
You don't want your wife. Now, is there qualities that you have that a man automatically, it's intrinsic, I think.
so.
They already know I loved when my mom did this, or my mom did this for my dad. Like, I remember telling my husband, as we've discussed here amongst us, we all know ourselves. Yeah, sure, refill anytime. We've discussed, I'm not a softie. For certain things, I'm a softie, but I caretake, but in a very
In a very stoic manner.
well, no, I just caretake. You know what I mean? But to be the softy, mushy, I'll wait for grandparenthood to be that person.
Okay.
And I forgot.
Maybe your mother-in-law was the opposite. Was she my
mother-in-law was very catering to her children, but not in an she was also very strong. I'm very whatever, but if he was hungry at 11 at night, she would pull shit out of the freezer and make it. I'm like, and I would tell him, I ain't your mama.
Yeah, no.
We had, thank God for Uber Eats and drive-thrus. I'm not gonna be pulling shit out at 11 o'clock at night. And when my kids were hungry, I go, we have frozen shit you can pop in the microwave. No.
Well, and gentlemen,
But if that's what you like to do and that's how you feel, good for you. For me, that's not.
well, but
I
we
ain't gonna be your
also
mama.
for hopefully people don't go into marriage expecting that their spouses are going to behave like their parents. Like, no, I'm not going to make you a meal at 11 o'clock at night because you're a grown ass man and you can make your own fucking meal. Sorry,
Sandwich,
but make a
cereal, whatever.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But here's how. I mean, I think in terms of the dynamic with like an in-law and the spouse, and sort of like when there is an issue or whatever. How did you handle it, or what do you think is the best way to handle it? Like, is it like I should speak up and tell my mother-in-law or my father-in-law, like whatever the issue is?
I think you run it by your spouse.
Or the spouse is
and
the
I'm gonna
messenger.
say, and I think we can both agree on this, by the time it's become an issue, because by then there have been a couple instances, you know what I mean? And you say, your mom did this or your dad did this, or you've brought it up. Your spouse is probably aware that there's something, and they'll either say, oh, you're misunderstanding, or oh, you're taking it wrong. And then you're like, oh, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so now you know where they're gonna side, kind of. So
it's hard though.
It's hard.
To be fair, obviously, I want my husband to take my side every time because I'm always right.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to get defensive when it's someone saying something about your parents, right? Because even if the other person is right, it's kind of like, yeah, but they're my parents.
Yeah.
Like, and there's this
what the fuck do you want me to do about it? I can't change them.
I'm not going to tell them that. Like, I'm not going to do that.
And then if you do say something, remember, you're going to be the bad guy now. Because if I go to my parent, my mom or my dad, and say, Claudia was a little offended, or you said this, or, the other day you said something, they're going to be like, oh, they're not going to be like, oh, let me make it better. It's going to be.
It's going to be.
Oh, this bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, did she now? Did she say, you become the problematic, and that's fucked up.
So what do you expect your spouse to do in that situation?
Yeah.
Because my husband and I have, like, when we've talked before in previous episodes, you should go check them out, where we've talked about therapy. Like, we've talked about this concept of, like, we are a unit, like we are a team, and we present a united front in any situation. But there are some times where, like,
we're on different pages.
We're on different pages, and what are we supposed to do about that? And, like, I know my husband and I have been through that, not a ton of times, but definitely like I'm thinking of one situation in particular where this was like during COVID times, and first of all, he and I were on different pages about how to handle COVID, but then like I was on a different page from like his family, and there was like, and it came around like Christmas time, and it was like
still, because COVID was like March.
Yeah, but it was the first Christmas of COVID, right?
First
so
COVID
it was
Christmas.
The first
COVID
Christmas.
Okay.
So it was the first COVID Christmas. It was still, this is like, what was that like variant that suddenly, the Delta like variant?
Oh, no, you lost me there.
If you even remember, like it was like a deadlier version, and there was all this stuff.
I had my
right?
boosters. I didn't pay.
No, there was no vaccine yet. There was like nothing.
Oh, no, I don't know.
So anyway, the point of all this is a very long story, but the point is more that like we had very different ideas of like whether we should be gathering, and there's more details to the story that are not even worth sharing, but we had like a difference of opinion, and it was like he was in the, now looking back I feel badly because it was Christmas, it was a big deal, his family always gets together, and like I was the one being like, no, not this year because of whatever, and he was like, I don't want to do that. And like, I want to be a unit with you, but like, it's my family and it's Christmas and I don't agree with you. And that's a real shitty place to be in. And at the time I was like adamant that you stick with me. And ultimately I think we've ended up with a compromise that he wasn't super happy with, but
neither were you.
But neither was I.
So you both could be miserable.
We both were a little bit
and I'm sure you were
mad.
a joy to be at that Christmas event.
I wasn't even there, and I don't think my in-laws probably loved it that much either. And they were probably like, "This
they categorized you in this
annoying bitch."
Yeah.
Like, and they love me.
They
love me. So I mean, but I'm sure they were probably.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think it's easy, it's easy to how do I say this? Because I'm not an in-law really, but I think what you would like to express or tell them is say, hey, I'm my own person too. Like, I'm a woman with thoughts and I have this family unit with your child, and we have our own way of doing things, and it's not always going to be how you want it or how you think is the right thing. We've got our own opinions. Now you're saying
no, my husband
that he was not, you guys were on different pages, then you got to compromise. You're going to go with your fucking stick face to that event, and it's going to be obvious that there's discord because tension. That's how it happens.
But you bring up something that's interesting, which is at what point, and I think this is more an issue with women than men, although I guess it depends on the family dynamic, but I think women tend to be a little bit more territorial around this sort of stuff. Like the family is kind of like the woman's, her domain, right? So at what point does the like matriarch of the family kind of switch to, you know,
the next gen,
because
when they pass away.
Really?
Yeah.
Because at some point you're like, all right, well, but you've had like, when it comes to, let's pick Mother's Day, for example, right? It's like, okay, well, you've had like 45 Mother's Days. I've only had like 4 or 5. So
it's still about
I want to do, what I want to do. Because you've had like 40 and I haven't had any.
But exactly what I think our very first inaugural episode was about that. And I said, well, then at that point where you're at the point where it's now involves other family members, because maybe before you have kids, it's about just your in-law, right? Because you're not a mother yet. So you cater to your mother, his mother. Once you have kids, you're like, well, what about me? And at first you kind of like, at least for me, it's like, well, it's okay. The baby's little. It's my Mother's Day. We spend it all together as a family. That's still beautiful. And it's nice.
It is.
But as you get older, you're kind of like, well, fuck, now it feels like an obligation. And I don't want to go somewhere on my Mother's Day, which is just as important as your Mother's Day.
Right.
So that's why I had said that we kind of came up with the day before, or even the weekend before. I have a friend who just did her family Mother's Day this past Sunday. All the women went to happy hour.
Oh, that's so nice.
And they spent the afternoon. I think they all went to a movie. That's like, plan it before. I mean, I think at today's day and in today's day and age, it should be an open conversation. Say, Mom, on Mother's Day, my husband, my whatever, and the kids, we're going to go do this. So I want them to spend time with you. Let's plan something for Saturday and do it the day before. The date doesn't really.
It really doesn't. But I just wonder, just generally speaking, right? It's like the matriarch of the family is the one who's like calls a lot of the shots in terms of holidays, celebrations, traditions, right? And at what point do you get to tell, like, because I feel like with your own parent, you could be like, listen, Mom, or listen, Dad, like, I'm going to do this or whatever. And there's a comfort level that you have, but then there's like when you have to tell an in-law, like, so listen, we're not going to do that tradition that you've been doing for 55 years. We're going to start a new one that's like based on my family dynamic.
Yeah, because you're out of here soon. So. I know. That was extra. I'm sorry.
That was rude.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just saying, truly, next gen, like, we want to start our own traditions.
It's so difficult.
My kids are older now, and I want them to be a part of something new.
I do think that it is the responsibility of the like, in this case it would be my husband would have to, if we were going to like break with tradition in some way.
I also would do it ahead of time and not like the weekend of or before.
Well, and men are so good at having these conversations in advance.
Yeah. So I would think, it's not a surprise. Mother's Day is the second Sunday in May. Hi.
Oh yeah.
Every year. Doesn't change.
Nope.
So you may want to, like in April, maybe the month before, say, hey, Mom, what do you think about Mother's Day? Natalia and I are going to do this, or she would like to do this. I'm thinking of taking her away on that weekend, or we're going to go away with the kids. But we'd like to spend time with you. What do you want to plan something ahead? Like, preempt it. Give some time.
That's a good plan.
Plan something and just give the heads up that, hey, not happening this year. We're going to do our own thing. But eventually, then what happens is if you don't start doing something about it, then you're just going to be a miserable curmudgeon when you go to that shit and you're like, I don't want to fucking be here. When can we leave? I want to go do my thing. Who wants to do that either?
Nobody does.
Like, we're in a good time to speak up.
Now, I agree with you. Now, one of the things that people have a lot of issues with their in-laws, or one reason that there's a lot of conflict is because in-laws have a tendency
to involve themselves in things they don't even involved in. Is that where you're going? I don't even know. But I can tell by the approach to this.
Well, I was going to say that sometimes they are passive aggressive in their response, in the way they behave. But also, yes, I think the other issue, and this is one that, like, I've just heard so much about it from so many different people, boundaries being crossed, right? Like in-laws that don't understand their place in your family dynamic, right? And I think this happens a lot in Hispanic families and in lots of others.
And honestly, that's what we're talking about. That's our experience.
But I've had friends from a lot of different nationalities where it actually turns out that we're all the same. They just get in your business, right? And it's like they just want to tell you how to parent your kids and what to do about your job.
And they've been through it in their experience.
Right.
Different times, people.
I know.
Different. And that's great.
And when it's your parent, I feel like you can be like, oh my God, or you ignore it, or you're so used to it.
Okay, Mom.
Or or you're so used to it, you don't even notice it. It's like, no, we're just talking, right? But when you're the in-law, and you're like, Interesting. Like,
Yeah.
why are you opining on this?
Yeah. I'm sorry. When did I ask you?
Yeah. Well, and I've had like this.
And when you have when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have like a strong personality in your in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some in-laws that may just come to you, or like your mom may come to you and she's not going to present it to Juan. She's not going to present it to your spouse.
She
She's
would
gonna talk
never.
to right. Well, and my mom was very free with her opinions, but not so much about our marriage or our dynamic.
Right.
She had opinions on other things. And my husband would always say, I had the best mother-in-law. She was fun to talk to, had great conversation,
Yeah.
and she never got involved in giving an opinion on. She wasn't that heavily involved in our daily lives. So she would make a comment here and there, but she did that about everything. So that's different. But from what I hear, for some people, there are mother-in-laws, and we say mother because the dads don't really. They just kind of.
I mean,
they're
I
afraid.
guess you could have a shitty father-in-law, but usually it's unfortunately the mother-in-law that gets the bad rap.
Yeah, they are because moms handle things, and so they want to quote unquote help you. They want to help you avoid a certain situation, or they've done it this way and it works great. And, and it's almost like taking away dumbing you down. It's almost like, listen, you know what? I can handle this. I got
Yeah.
it. That's the way you've done it. That's awesome. But this is what works
Good
here.
for you.
Good for you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. But guess what? No. No. This is what works for us.
I know.
Your son has told me this is how he likes it. How about that?
I would never.
Why?
I don't know. That seems so like.
No, say, you know what? I mentioned that. And you know what? He told me he prefers this. So we're going to try that this time.
You know what's fun? Sometimes I do
mean-
this. It's opposite of this, which is talk shit about your mother-in-law's son with your mother.
Oh, well, that's just bonding.
That's fun. There have been so many
Bonding.
times, and I appreciate this about my mother-in-law, who like does think that my husband is the best. Like, obviously, he's
course. It's her son.
the most beautiful,
king.
most intelligent, best man that ever walked the planet Earth. But she is also cognizant of some of his shortcomings, and I think the best time we ever have is when we sit down and talk about it
and rip him to shreds. That's nice. My husband's sitting there going, thank God. I miss my mom, but thank God, because his mom loved having happy hours. Unfortunately,
It's
she wasn't
fun.
around. She passed away when Emmy turned 4. So, I got to enjoy her for 6 or 7 years. But I remember I would hear the stories where she in the afternoons would love to have happy hour at the house, and all the women in the family would come. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do that. I didn't really get to do that too often with her, but the times that we did, we laughed. And she had a great love of life, and like that. She didn't have like complejos. I'm sorry, guys.
complexes.
Insecurities or whatever.
Yeah.
She was just like, and we could laugh about whatever. And that was fun. That was a fun, and yes, that there's nothing more because,
Well-
and you connect as women too, because you're kind
Yeah.
of talking about men, not
Right.
just so happens that the son is involved.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a way of us low-key bonding.
Well, and I
as
would
women.
say, yes, 100%. And I would say, too, like, the two women that would know this person this way, I mean, would be the wife and the mom, because are the ones most intimately involved with them. And so it's just nice to be like, you know what I'm talking about.
And you
know what I
as
mean.
a woman, you're complaining or commenting on something that women in general would probably be commenting. Oh, I have to praise him because he takes out the garbage. That's a common. What do you want? A cookie? It's garbage. Everybody throws out. Everybody
Yeah.
participates in the garbage. Why do I got to thank you for something to do that belongs to that stupid kind of
girl.
shit? Yeah, I know. Girl, that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole other episode. We had a little pre-episode event
conversation.
All right. Now I do think there is a whole different dynamic that occurs when you have children. And now, like, your in-laws are not just like your mother-in-law and your father-in-law, like they're also grandparents to your children. And that introduces a whole extra layer.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, go.
I'm speaking up. Okay. What do you do? Which I don't think you have this problem, but let me pose it to you.
Okay.
And what do you out there, because I know a couple of you leave great comments, and please keep them coming. When you have, even if it's your parent
Okay.
and or an in-law that you don't really feel confident that they will take care of, or, not follow your rules or because their grandparents are going to spoil their, they're going to spoil their grandkids. You got to allow a little bit of that as long as it doesn't disrupt something severely.
Right.
Sleep schedules and things like that. Like they have to respect what you've put in place. But I'm talking about like you're going to leave them alone with your kid and you're like, I don't feel confident that they're going to be watchful or that they're going to take care of them well. I mean, that's pretty scary. That happened to me with my own mom. So I wonder when it's your in-law. Like, how do you express that to your spouse? Do they recognize it? Do they think, yeah, we can't do that? What if the in-laws are asking, hey, we want to take the kids away for the weekend? You're like, oh, hell to the no. No, they have doctor's appointments all weekend.
Yeah, they're very, very busy.
What do you do? How do you handle that situation?
So I have not really had this issue at all because I trust my in-laws with my kids, and they take them all the time. And
you're so lucky to have that.
Yes, I am very, very lucky. Now, they did not always follow like my scheduling rules and stuff like that, and that was
they're like, yeah, bye.
Yeah, and like I remember one time, Oliver was really young, and we had gone to like Mexico, and I called, and it was like 5:00. He should have been awake, right? Like he should have napped hours ago, and I call, and they're like, oh, he's napping, and I'm like, what do you mean? He was so. I say
but
that
then you gotta go. Okay, but I'm not there to have to deal with that
Mexico,
shit. So let them.
I'm in Mexico having a
like,
drink.
Bitch, go have another margarita. Shut up.
Exactly. But I the reason why I say that is because I do think that part of it is check yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, what am I so uncomfortable with, and is it real? Because if it's just that they do it differently than you, and it's not exactly the way you would do it, but your child's not in any real danger or anything like that, then I do think you got to let it go.
Yeah. You got to go through it and think, okay, what am I worried about? That they don't do. Is it really going to harm them, affect them lifelong? Like
at the end of the day, he went right back to his sleep schedule when I got back. It did not make a lick of difference that he didn't nap that day.
And that's grandma. Yeah. Like they know when they go to grandma's and grandpa, they're going to do different shit.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And by the way,
they should have that experience with them.
He went to like nap late because he was like at the pool all day having a great time, right? So I think part of it is being real with yourself. Like, what's the problem? Is it a control issue that I have, or is there like a legitimate safety issue?
Right.
And if there's a legitimate safety issue, then I think you need to come prepared with some like evidence to share with your spouse. Hopefully they have seen it. If it's a real if it's a real safety thing, hopefully they'll have observed it, and you don't have to do that much convincing.
They're not going to do something on purpose that's going to put them in danger,
right? But I have like seen situations where it's like it's not that they're bad, like they're great people, but like they don't pay that much attention. So like a 2-year-old is eating like full grapes, and it's like, and they think it's cute, and it's like they're taking videos of the grape, and it's like, what do you do with that? Which I think is tougher.
Listen,
I mean,
it's or I mean, I remember with my mom sometimes I would go through things. She didn't. This is gonna sound horrible. She did not stay with my daughter, really ever until my daughter was talking and very verbal.
Okay,
that she could express or at least be able to fend for herself. She tried when she was a baby, and that did not work. And the one time that my husband and I ventured out, and I'm like, okay, my mom said she'd come because we didn't have a lot of people that could caretake, babysit.
Yeah.
My mom came, we left, we came back, and my mom was napping, and my daughter was on the floor crawling around the house. And so then my mom got offended because I got pissed. I'm like, Mom, she's walking. What the fuck? Like, I'm thinking all these things, finger in the socket, penny in the mouth, pulling down the cabinet, and she's like, oh, you stress so much. She's fine. It was a little 15-minute whatever. What's going to happen? And I'm like, this is the one and only time you are ever going to take. Yeah. She was that type of, because in her day, she had 4 children before me, and she had a nanny for each one that cooked, one that cleaned, one that did laundry, and one that took care of the kids. So she could come and go. Seatbelts to her were like, this is ridiculous. Seatbelts. You guys used to sit on my lap. I go, okay. Hi, we're not in third world anymore. We're in the United States. Seatbelts exist for a reason. Like, she just, she just thought all of that was just so unnecessary. I'm like, okay, well, now it's necessary, and you need to respect. And I realized she wasn't really gonna.
Well, see, in instances like that, where it's like that's a real safety issue, and I have certain rules, like even with my in-laws and my parents, where when it's a safety thing, I don't fuck around with it. So like just recently, we were going somewhere in my in-laws car and I was like, do you have the Paolo's like booster seat? They were like, no. I'm like, well, you better find it because we're not going. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, really. Like when it comes to safety stuff, I am very comfortable saying like, I'm not gonna like roll the dice on my kids' safety.
And honestly, if you are an in-law and you're listening and you have respect your child and his spouse. He has chosen this person. They are building a life.
Yeah.
If they have a way that they do things and they've asked you to please
do it that way.
Or even if they ask you, like you're saying, the booster seat, you know, inside their head, they're going, what the fuck, who cares about a booster seat?
Oh, for sure.
It doesn't matter.
Like, esta ridícula.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't matter how you feel about it.
That's the thing.
This is their child. You already raised your child.
Yeah.
You raised your son, and he is now married to someone. So he is sharing his life, just like you're sharing your life with your spouse. Yeah. He's now
doing that. He chose this mentally ill woman.
He chose this type A, dog-hating, germaphobe.
Unfortunately.
Who's uncomfortable with seeing other women naked, by the way. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah,
I was showering when she got here, and I'm like, what's the matter? I'm naked. I don't care. And she's like, no, I'm okay. I'm like, really? Are you like that shy?
I didn't grow up in a naked house.
I am. She's like, I am my mother's daughter. I'm like, I get it. It's okay. I covered up with a towel. I respected it.
I don't need to see
I didn't come out here all titty Tuesday'd.
You did. Well, I did see a titty or two.
Okay, but you know, there's two.
But
I have a pair.
You do have a pair. They look really nice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very proud of them.
In any event, yes, I do think that like if you are the in-law, if you're a grandparent, in-law or not, like you need to respect the rules that you're in. And guys, and again, I say this because I do think like a girl will feel very comfortable telling her parents. Here's what I want.
We grow a pair once we have kids, especially.
Yeah.
But you have to be able and support. You know what? Listen, your wife isn't just bitching. And if it matters to her and she's bringing it up, just listen, you know, because we're easily biased towards our own parents, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to, or you might join the other man and say, yeah, my mom's a bitch. Or either way, you got to navigate it before it grows into something stupid that doesn't need to be. You just simply assert and say, look, this is the way we like to do it. If you're uncomfortable with that, then you don't have to take care of them. You just come spend time with them at our house. But I mean, we're not comfortable with that.
But that's like I want them to have time to
drop them off. You want to drop them the fuck off on the weekend and go to New York. Yeah,
I do.
So they might be eating grapes.
I do. They're going to be eating grapes. I know it. But again, check yourself and what your motivations are.
Yeah, and delivery is very important.
Yeah.
But it's also important for the in-laws. Like, you have to understand there's boundaries. You know, they will ask if they need more of you, want your opinion, want your interaction, need your help. Your son, your daughter, in-laws, give them enough credit to think they'll come to me if they need it.
Right.
You know, especially like with opinions on things. Oh, we haven't gone to that one. Like interjecting their thoughts on things. You know, try to keep it to when asked.
You know, and this is where, and my mom both of my parents, frankly, are so like this. Like
which is crazy because your dad is my brother, my oldest brother, who I adore. He's the patriarch of the family. Yeah. And he is very boisterous.
Boisterous?
I mean, well, okay, he's vocal. He's maybe he's toned it down, but remember back in the day, like, you know, if he was animated about something, emotional about something, he did not hold back in sharing his. So boisterous. What is what is that?
No, that
definition?
Makes me think of like, well, maybe
happy and loud.
Yeah, which he can be.
He can be happy and loud, but I mean, okay, vocal. I never took him for keeping his mouth shut and biting his tongue.
Oh, no.
Like if he had something to express, he was going to express it.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Your mom, I think, is a little more PC. She's like discreet, and she'll talk to you, Natalia. This and this. I'm not saying, or she might just say, I don't know. And let you come to her and say, Mom, what do you think about this? Right. She's not going to jump in. Not at all like my mother. We have different experiences. But I think that tactic is better. Is like, you know what? You're an adult. This is your relationship, your marriage. I have mine. Me and your dad have our way of doing things. You have to respect your adult children in the choices and decisions they've made on how they raise their kids, how they handle their marriage. It's their life. You can't keep raising them. You're done.
It's true.
You're done.
But it's really hard. So my parents are very much like that. So that's what I'm accustomed to. My in-laws, I think, are more comfortable expressing their opinions, even when you haven't asked for them, which it's not that it's bad necessarily. Like sometimes
That's just the way they are.
Yeah. And sometimes their input is like, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. Or, or sometimes it's funny or whatever.
Because at the same time, they're adults also. They're not just your in-laws. They're adults that you would have conversations with at any other time.
Exactly. And they've lived full lives and they have experiences and all good, right? So, but it's different for me because I'm not used to necessarily getting an opinion I didn't ask for. So it's very...
it can feel intrusive. Maybe it's not meant to be intrusive. It's meant to be helpful, but you're like, okay, but I didn't ask.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so what do you think is how would you handle a situation where you get an opinion that
unsolicited
you didn't want and you don't agree with? What do you do? From an in-law.
From an in-law, and I'm just gonna say a mother-in-law, right? Because that's what really.
Or
because then you just like
sometimes they throw down.
Let's tell you what, my father-in-law had plenty of opinions.
Yeah,
and there was one that I carried with me for a long, long time, and I was angry about it because I'm like, you're just throwing that out there based on your very limited interactions in our life.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the dynamic.
It doesn't even matter.
My family watching and my husband's will understand the dynamic I'm talking about. It's not like he was involved day to day. It was very...
But it doesn't even matter. It's just...
But he would throw a comment or an opinion. And
darts.
in the Hispanic culture, I'm going to say, I don't know if this happens in others. I'm just going based on our experience. I had a mom this way also that would visit the children on the weekends, their children, but then they talk about all the other children while they're there. So my mom would go to my sister's, let's just like randomly do it that way, would go to one brother's house and then talk about either an interaction or a bitching session about one of the other kids. Your sister this, and then she'd go to the next one or a phone call and say, can you believe I was just at so-and-so? And she just would stir the pot and talk shit or whatever she was unhappy about each location. So now the rest of your siblings have some insight or whatever. Oh, dad said this or mom said this. So my father-in-law had this habit on Saturdays. That was his visit time. So on Saturdays, he'd show up with a big thing of Cuban bread for the dogs, and he'd visit the grandkids for 30 minutes, and then he'd go to the next house. But while he was with us, he would make his commentaries and thoughts and opinions on everybody else in the family. Then he'd go to the next one and go, what he's doing here, he's going to the next place.
Of course.
So on one trip, at the time, I was not working at quote unquote. Let's put it in comillas, air quotes. I was not working like in an office or whatever. My husband at that time, I think we had closed his law office already, and he was working in the home health care. And he looked at me and said, you have to work. You can't not work. And I'm thinking, okay, slow down a minute. You have no idea what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I had my stepdaughter living with me full time that required tutoring, pickups at school. If I'm not doing that stuff, who is? But then I also have to recognize, he wasn't there when his kids were growing up. So he doesn't know. He just thinks that I have to contribute financially because we're a unit and we have bills to pay. Okay, that's fine. But if I'm not doing the things I am doing, someone else has to do them, which means I have to hire someone to pick up my kids at school, put them in aftercare, do all the things.
Yeah.
That's going to cost me money too.
Probably your whole salary.
And guess what? I want to be around my kids.
Yeah.
And if we're able to squeak by however we do, and that's what my husband and I agreed on, that's our decision as a unit. That's how this dynamic is going to work for now. When it's time and I can go back to work somewhere, I will.
Now, did you express that?
No. I could never. And I lived with this.
That was the question. What do you do?
Well, I'm just explaining that there's a situation like that where he's expressing, you need to work. And I'm like, so I looked at my husband and I go, okay, well, what do I do with that? So now he thinks I'm just what? A lazy ass that's not working,
right.
And that sat on my shoulders for a long, long time.
It's heavy to carry,
It's heavy because like your dad thinks I'm a fucking loser because I'm not working in an office. Okay, I can go work in an office. What else is going to suffer? And when I could, I picked a business that I could run from home. So irrelevant. But when you get unsolicited, I think you go to your spouse. I think you go to your spouse in that moment, or you just say, okay, well, I appreciate it, but that's not this, I appreciate you can say, well, I understand where you're coming from, but that we've tried that doesn't work for us. Make up something, or just say, okay, I'll think about it. You're going to have to blow it off.
That's my go-to. I honestly, like, if I get an opinion, and this is not even just for in-laws, it's like anybody who gives me a piece of advice.
That's good for you.
I don't care. And I'll just be like, oh, okay.
Thanks for that.
And I just let it go. I don't find there's a lot of value in like having a big fight or back and forth about it. Like
on something that's not going to impact you. You're going to walk away from that. Go, okay, next, like move on with your life.
Who cares? Like, okay, that's what you think I should do. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Good for you. That worked for you.
Noted.
Now I'm going to go on to Taco Tuesday and do my thing.
I'm going to go do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And
now, some of those opinions or thoughts sometimes are food for thought. Sometimes I'm I'm non-judgmental, and that's why you say you should study anthropology. Well, my degree is in sociology and anthropology. I love people. I love cultures, learning different things. I'm fascinated by the different ways people do the same thing. That interests me. So sometimes an unsolicited opinion can actually have an insight that you never thought of. You know 100%. What I mean? And you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna protest and dig my heels and say no, but secretly you're kind of like, she wasn't wrong. That's actually a different take. You never know. You might be able to find something good in that unsolicited, even if you didn't want it, even if in the moment it's like, fuck that.
Totally. I've definitely had... I've definitely had that, and I've gone through periods where I'm like, I'm not going to listen to anything you say. Like, none of your opinions like mean anything to me.
Hold any water.
No water.
Yeah, but and if you know, 80s people.
But now I feel like, I don't know, like I value the opinion of the elders, like I want to know, like how did you handle this? Yeah, and like I might not agree with it, but I guess I don't feel as, I will say this, I think there was a point probably somewhere in my 30s where I think I felt like, oh, well, I'm married now and I have kids now, and I wanted to say, I wanted to assert like my authority, my autonomy in this whole dynamic.
This is my family, and I get to pick and choose.
And
what happens.
I get to be the mom and the wife. And like I am woman, hear me roar type of thing. And now I'm like, first of all, I'm tired.
Help. Help. Yeah, whatever you want.
First of all, I'm tired. Second of all, I think I do just value more, like, you know what, I might not agree with everything that you think or say, but like, you've been through it. You
reached that opinion for a reason.
Yeah, you got there somehow. I'm willing to listen. Like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but like, I'm not mad that you have an opinion. You know what I mean?
And I think delivery is also a very big, like delivery, and even in your relationship, in your working co-workers, delivery, I've had to, that's a big lesson for me. That's one of these, what you learn about yourself and life and things as you grow. I'm growing as a person, all these sayings that are like so corny, but when you really strip them down, when you have introspection, is that the word?
Yes.
Lawyer. Hey, I got my education.
Hey.
When you're introspective in the moment, I spend a lot of time alone. So, and I think conversations I have with my husband, or fights we have, or discussions, or with my sister, or with whoever, people that are important, that will say something, and even if in the moment I'm like, screw you or whatever, then you're left alone with your thoughts. You can't unring a doorbell. Once those words are said and put out there, you hear them, whether you're mad at them, whatever, they stick with you. And so you think, shit, is it me that's not getting, what can I do better? Do I do this? Is this a bad habit? Is this a bad character? And you think. So maybe in the delivery is so important. Yeah. I've learned that. I used to not be a very good deliverer of I let emotion rule my delivery. Yeah. And that's really bad, because in the moment you're feeling a certain way. So the words come out with emotion of anger or hurt or resentment. If you just wait a minute and give it some thought, you can still say the same thing in a way that's not going to offend, hurt, come across as an asshole thing to say. You can just say, hey, listen, and you can still express, I was hurt by this, or this is how I do it. Take from it what you want.
Right.
I'm your mother-in-law, I'm your father-in-law. this is what happened to us. This is what I experienced. Take from it what you want. Do what you want. But I figured I'd share because if it helps in any way, great. Just your delivery. I think the delivery.
Watch
I think
your
when
delivery. Yeah.
I think when
and watch how you receive information too,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't be defensive all the time. You can't assume you always know best. Like sometimes it's
Although we
okay
do.
to just. I mean, I know what to do
Well,
in
I mean,
every
I know.
situation,
But you know what? Also, as an in-law, which someday I guess we will both be in-laws.
hopefully.
You have to also understand and accept that people aren't going to always do it your way. Your way was your
Yeah.
way because it worked for you. It may not work
I know.
for your child.
Now I want
So-
to switch gears just slightly because I know we are coming up on
Yeah,
our time.
we gotta
but
wrap-
we got to wrap up.
this shit
but
up. It's Taco Tuesday.
It's Taco Tuesday, but I don't even know if we have enough time to talk about like
We
'cause-
can do a fast one.
Well,
What?
just because there's like your mother and father-in-law, but then there's brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law,
yes,
and there's
that's
a whole
so-
other piece of the family, right? Like once you get married, you marry into the whole family, and so it expands,
yeah.
and there's like that dynamic.
Yeah.
Where
What
you
if
have,
there's an
you know, your new brothers and your new sisters,
and their spouses.
and their spouses too,
And they've been
right?
around before you came into the picture, and like, do
Maybe.
you ruffle the feathers? Well,
Or maybe they came in after, and you're like, now you're in my space.
Yeah.
And I've already established a dynamic.
there's a
and now-
hierarchy here, bitch.
Yeah,
No.
like you can't just come in here and start dating this, the brother. And
or like having demands. Who are you? No,
No.
You need to earn your rights.
Exactly. You got to work your way
You
up
gotta
this
get your
totem
brownie
pole,
point. That's
girl.
right. It's like, what is it? The commissary in jail. You gotta wait, and you gotta earn your. You gotta prove yourself in this.
Yeah.
It is that. Isn't that weird? It is that way. Like you
Kind
kind
of.
of say, you're the newbie here. We've been doing things a certain way, and you may have to adjust. And if you don't, we may not like you.
Well, I
That
had
was me. I was the newbie.
You were the newbie.
It was a long time ago, but I remember it was scary as hell.
Of course.
It's scary.
I was the elder. I came
Oh,
first because
okay.
I'm married to the oldest.
Okay.
And I've been around.
Because you're old.
And because I'm old as fuck. And I've been around for 900 years.
So you can lay it down. You're like, bitch, I am the matriarch. What?
You know what's interesting is that on this topic, like I actually lived with my brother-in-law and his wife. But before she was his wife, she was his girlfriend. And the four of us lived together in an apartment for years, even after we were both married. So we were like two married couples living in an apartment together, which was very unorthodox.
Well, that's just, damn, in your honeymoon phase, you had to like cap everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was
no.
like,
I mean, that's crazy. I mean,
it was kind of
kind of fun. I'm sure there were moments where it's like, at least you always know there's but then, okay, so damn, there's a whole nother
I
episode.
know.
So what do you do when you like have plans or you want to have people over? Like you have to include them in everything. Even
Yeah.
though they're not really part of your friend group, they're
Yeah.
your family group.
Yeah,
But,
and
like-
they live with you.
So what do you do? Say, hey, we have people come over stay in your room?
No, they were always part of each other's plans,
No.
which a
No.
lot of the time were a lot of the time
She
was
deserves a big badge. So brother-in-law, sister-in-law, that is.
well and
On your
vice
end too,
versa.
and vice versa,
And vice versa.
That's you do what you got to do. It's New York City, so I
well,
mean,
that was the thing. So the
Damn.
reason why this even happened was because we were living in New York, and my husband's
costs
parents,
money.
yeah, my husband's parents had bought an apartment, and it was originally for their sons. So it was like the two brothers living together, and then I came in, and then it was the three of us. And then he was like, my brother-in-law was like, well, my girlfriend's coming too. So
it's one big happy family.
So it's one big happy family. And
which I'm
yeah,
sure at first was like, oh, this will be cool.
it
And it probably was cool, mostly.
It was fun mostly, and we did come up like today. I think the four of us, like we have so many funny memories, and we
And
have
bonds.
like bonds, and we like have inside jokes that we like you couldn't have with anybody else. But it was definitely challenging because it's like especially after we both got married, it's like we both want just like our privacy, and we both just want
And we have our ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And I think your sister-in-law is a vegan, right?
She is, yes.
So imagine.
She wasn't at the time.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was gonna say
she
'cause-
sort of
but
switched
let's just say,
at
even
that
in a
point.
dynamic like that, I mean, hypothetically, let's say she was, I'm sure she wants to cook things or have certain things a certain way, and you're like, but no, we're making steaks tonight, and then,
And yeah, I'm sure she was
my
like, this
favorite
meat is
expression.
disgusting.
Yeah. I used to say when I went vegan for a while, because I've tried it like 3 different times, and if it were it's not my choice. It is my choice.
It is your choice.
It is. But it doesn't fit in my lifestyle.
Right.
As
It's
well
hard.
as I would
It's
want.
hard.
For me, my animal love is different, but being a vegan or even vegetarian, when you have a meat eating family, it's difficult. And I tried to do it for a while, but I always say, oh, you're going to eat that carcass? Oh, we're having carcass today.
Oh,
Yum.
no.
Yeah, I did all that.
Oh, but why?
I did-
That's
because
never
I'm
going to convert
obnoxious and
anybody.
No, of
Yeah,
course not.
no.
But I was trying to make them feel guilty, and then I ate it anyway. Eventually, like the other day, I had a nice big fat Whopper with cheese cut in half. I'm like, I'm not going to think of the mystery meat in here. I love a good hot dog at a
You don't need
baseball
to
game.
know.
The lips, ass, and nails
That
that,
is
are in
none
that.
of your business.
It's there. It tastes good, and I'm just going to move along with
No, but I'm
one
just
hot dog.
there was definitely things that, I'm sure bugged them about
Of
us
course.
and things that bugged us about them. And all I can say is in any of the if you ever find yourself in that very unique situation.
Yeah, that's a unique situation.
It's a unique situation. I would say some people have asked us like, how did you get through that? Because we did it for years and it was like
How many years?
like 3.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Damn,
The
Nat.
4 of us lived there for a while. The only reason we ended up splitting up was because I got pregnant. It was like, okay, well, we need that bedroom. So
Bye.
you're gonna need.
No offense.
And then they moved across the street, and we could literally
cute.
it was
Oh,
very
okay,
cute, and we
okay.
could literally see them from their apartment, like our apartment to theirs, and be like, oh, they're home.
With Neil Patrick
Are they
Harris.
there?
Didn't you tell me that Neil Patrick Harris used to walk in your neighborhood?
He lived in our neighborhood.
Oh
yes.
my God. How cute is that? Well, I mean, that's an interesting dynamic. In the relationship prior to my husband, my ex, whatever, we lived in a townhouse, and my best friend's brother, who I grew up with, I mean, he was like my brother, lived with us too. So it was me, my ex-husband, and my best friend's brother. And a lot of times, my ex-husband used to work at night, so he would leave at 9 or 10 p.m. So I was home alone with but he's like a brother. So no, he was like my brother. There was no there comes a point as a
Yeah.
little girl, you might have a crush on your friend's older brother, and then you grow up and you're like, no. So but it was comfort. It was fun because then I was like, I wasn't alone. Somebody I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
He's a guy, so I was like, hey, you want to go get food? You go pick it up.
Right.
We would end up playing games or watching movies. It was cool, but there comes a point still. It's like, okay, he's across the hall.
Yeah.
Like we're in our room and you're there. No. You grow up a little bit, and as you get older, you're like, yeah, I need my privacy.
You need privacy, 100%. All right, speaking of that, let's do a couple of really quick lightning round things.
Okay, go.
Okay, your in-laws show up unannounced.
Oh,
Yay or nay?
well, depends. I don't like anybody showing up unannounced.
I'm a nay on that.
So, like, the fact that you're an in-law, you just fell into the group of just don't
Yeah.
do that to people.
Yeah, and there have been times, and my in-laws do not do this very often at all. So this is not a knock on them, but they have. There's been a couple times where they've showed up where I didn't know they were coming, and that's my husband's fault for not telling me that they texted
Juan.
and said they were on their way.
Juan.
But I've
all I'm
been
gonna
like
say.
sitting there like no bra, short, and then
The
I'm
no
like,
bra thing's a problem.
and then my father-in-law walks in, and I'm like, gotta go.
No. You're like, no, not because of him. I'm just saying that happens without you even knowing. You're like, oh my God, I gotta
I'm
cover myself.
I
And
can't
you're,
just
like,
be showing
standing there.
my titties. Like I gotta
What's
go.
her name on SNL? Sister Mary Catherine, where she's like standing.
Yes.
So he walks in, you're like, hi, glad you're here. And you're like, oh,
Exactly.
fuck.
That's why
Yeah.
I don't like the
Yeah.
unannounced.
Yeah.
Like, what if I'm not dressed and then I
I'm
can't?
just in a t-shirt in
we
my own
can't
home.
undo that.
No.
You know what I mean? So no,
Visions.
you have to announce. You have to announce.
Yes, announce. No visits.
All right.
Without
when
a
they
little
tell
heads up.
you that's not how we do it in
That's-
this family.
And say, oh no, I understand that. I get that, and that worked for you. That's awesome. But you know what works for us? The way we do it. How about that? Stick that. Go have your margarita.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
You see? That's what you tell them. Say, oh, did it really? Oh no, we tried it. It didn't work. This is how it works here.
Yeah, you just got to say it. Like, just let them.
It's your delivery.
They give your kids food. You explicitly told them not to feed
I'd be
them.
pissed. Okay, see there, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Well, what do you say? What do you do?
Say, you know what? I asked you not to give that to them. There's a reason why. This is the experience we've had. It doesn't sit well with him, and now you've given it to him, and I'm going to have to deal with the consequences of what it does to him. So please, when I ask you not to give him something, it comes from a place of experience, not just because I feel like being a fucking bitch and telling him he can't have chocolate. He can't have chocolate because he's going to shit his bed all night or shit his pants or get constipated or whatever he's going to do. And guess what? You're going to be home watching fucking Netflix while I'm cleaning his bed. No.
You should
respect me as a parent.
You should also give that information on the front end. Like if you have a rule, if you
She might want to give him the food so that you have to clean his shit in bed.
Well, if she hates you, but like
Yeah.
you give that just tells me you have to give the explanation up front, because sometimes they might think like this ridiculous woman
she just doesn't want him to have
she
sugar.
doesn't want him to have sugar, and that's stupid. But if you have a really good reason, you should say it, so that way they don't just
explain it. Yeah, that's a good way to explain it ahead of time.
Yeah, explain
and
it ahead
if
of
he
time.
shits his bed, I'm going to call you and I'm going to bring you the fucking
You're
sheets.
gonna come.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to clean.
They expect you to spend every holiday with them.
Holidays. Holidays. You know, you have to. That's where my Mother's Day love began. That's the first holiday that I could honestly say I was able to say, well, it's my Mother's Day too. It's not that I don't appreciate you. I love you. I want to celebrate you, but I want to celebrate me too. It's my Mother's Day. I earned it. I'm a mother.
Sure
and
did.
I want to do what I want to do, which was usually, and my girls laugh and say, pool and mimosas. I go, yeah, bottomless mimosas. I want to lay in the sun by the pool. I don't want an empty glass all day. Just refill
Yeah.
it. Don't ask me, Mom, can I, Mom, where we've done
Yeah.
this. I want it for me to do whatever I want. If I want to go to the beach,
But it's not
let's go
even
to
just
the beach.
Mother's Day. If they expect that you're going to be with them for Christmas, for Thanksgiving,
It's
for
all of
Mother's
them.
Day, yeah,
That pressure is still there. I think.
I am very, very, very fortunate in that our families get along so well that we spend most of our
Together.
holidays together,
Which is awesome.
and it integrates really well. And our parents are friends, and it works out well for us because we don't necessarily have to choose, but. I mean, honestly, if there was a situation where, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out, we can't all hang out together, alternate. It's the only fair way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
It's the only fair way.
Or come up with a different date. Like I think you were
Or-
part
yeah.
of when we did the Christmas Eve.
Yes.
We did the 23rd. I said,
Right.
you know, now
Cousins
that the
gather.
cousins are older, they have significant others, which means you have to go to the significant others' families. You know, everybody's torn. You know, and then you spend your holiday in your car house hopping. You're going to, you know, her parents, his parents, so and so, your uncle, your aunt is having, you know, this.
I'm listening to you. I'm trying to get to the next thing.
Can I tell? Okay, Bun Twist.
But guys,
Oh, when my
I
husband
thought-
does that, I talk to him. He's like, "Wait a minute, I got a text." I go, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go shower." So because what I
Guys,
had to say meant nothing.
I was figuring that the camera would be on Claude for this
well,
part,
she will
so I can
because
get to
it
the
will
next.
be edited that way. But
so
just
that I could
by
get to
the
the
by,
next.
she was on her phone.
So I could get to the next talking
All right, well,
point.
but we're not supposed to. We're
Jesus
just talking.
Christ.
We're wrapping up.
Jesus Christ, we are
We're
wrapping up.
up. See, now I forgot.
You know what? It's a great
Fuck
place
it.
to end it anyway. We've been here for a while. In any event, guys, listen.
No, what I was saying is the pre-Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Come up with an alternative. You know, when your families grow and there's more significant others,
Yeah.
other than just us, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a big group or whatever, and you know that everybody's pulled in all these different directions, and everybody's like, "Fuck, I gotta get in the car now. We gotta go to here." Nobody enjoys that. Nobody enjoys that.
Nope.
So pick a new date and just say, you know what? Pre-Christmas Eve, everybody got together. Christmas Eve, you go to your girlfriends, you go to boy. That's fine.
I
And then
agree.
you get to spend the time with your nucleus.
And most importantly, you just have to understand that you are not entitled to every holiday. No family is
You've had
entitled
them
to
up until
every,
now, right.
Yeah,
Like,
no family is entitled
Be
to that.
open-minded. You know what? Maybe start taking a trip and let your kids have their own celebration of that day. You're going to go celebrate it a different way now.
No, that's never going to happen in my family.
But you can.
No one's doing that.
It's an option.
It's an option, that,
And they
that
should
will not
explore
be
that
taken.
option.
All right, friends, we're not even going to do our delve deck today because
No,
we went
yeah,
over
we're
our
over
time.
time. Yeah.
But I
But
would
you don't
love to
care.
hear. You don't care at all. We number one. Tell us how you feel about the delve deck. Do you want us to keep doing it?
Yeah,
I
like
think
the
it's
questions
cute,
are fun.
But like,
I love the questions.
But like, do you want to keep hearing it? Number two, tell us about your in-laws. Tell us about the worst, most obnoxious, craziest thing
And
your
if you have an
in-laws have
awesome,
done.
and if you have an awesome in-law that you're
And
like, fuck, I'm thankful.
We
that I have
want
these
we
in-laws."
want to hear all the green flags too, because in-laws can also be such a blessing in your life. They just
Yeah.
add to your family joy and
They
dynamic.
really do. I mean,
They do.
in-laws get a bad rap. I always say in-laws and step-parents. Like I was a
True.
stepmom. They call them step monsters. I'm like, Disney does not help.
No,
because
it
all the
doesn't.
stepmoms
I
are
know.
freaking mean. I'm like, not all stepmoms are mean. By the way,
They're not. You're a great stepmom, and I want to give a shout out to my in-laws because I think you guys are great, and you guys always treat me like your daughter, and I love that about you guys. So Thank you for that.
And I know your in-laws, and they're wonderful people.
They
too.
are. They're great.
They are.
So, thank you to all the in-laws. And if you're a shitty one, check yourself and make sure open your mind. Make sure that you follow us on all of our socials.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Share the episodes, and most importantly, come back and visit us next week.
Yeah, and always know that we have to cap this at a certain point, because there are certain things, like we had our sex episode, and people were like, you ladies need to check this or check. We know. You know what?
Well,
yeah, there's some of you that can get there with lots of different ways. Maybe we don't. We're talking about the common knowledge of people. We don't have time to cover everything. We're just kind of touching on stuff, and we welcome the comments, though. I love
let us
reading
know
your
what,
opinions.
I do
it's
too.
Fun.
And let us know what you want to do a deeper dive into.
Yeah.
If we touched on something that you're like, yeah, I need you to go deeper into that, let us know.
Or
We're
your
happy
experience.
to do it.
Your experience. This happened to me. Can you guys talk about that? Or what do you?
Yes, we can.
We really love that.
We can talk about anything.
Well, yeah, we can. And given some of these, we can talk about everything.
All day long. All right, kids. Well, have a good Titty Tuesday, and we will
Cinco.
see you all next week.